Good morning. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about dreams and green lights lately. And this morning I was on a run and I got honked at when I ran past a green light, which is for the cars and not for me. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, I think this is a sign that I need to actually follow the rules and not just have it my way all the time, because the world is not about me. As a system, and we have to follow the rules. But yeah, dreams. Yesterday I was having this conversation with a friend. There is the paradox of dreams I want to talk to you about. We live in a world in which we always work towards a dream. But what happens when you get to that dream? You're kind of left in the dust a bit when you find that there's nothing else next to renew towards. And this green light imagery, often representing the beacon of our hopes and dreams. But what better way to talk about it than pick up my annotated version of The Great Gatsby from A-levels. And famously, Gatsby says to Daisy that you always have a green light that burns at night, all night, at the end of your dock. And for him, this, as Nick is narrating, this is the light in which Gatsby, he stretched out his arms towards the dark water in a curious way. Nothing except a single green light. And so that was his dream. But then a few minutes later, not a few minutes later, but as you read on the book, this is the whole symbol of the American dream, the green, the money. But we have this lovely quote about his reveries and his dreams, where while these reveries provided an outlet for his imagination, they were a satisfactory hint of the unreality of reality, a promise that the rock of the world was founded securely on a fairy's wing. It's like, what a great image, a rock of the world founded on a fairy's wing. It's just absolutely fragility of dreams that requires constant renewing for it to continue. And I was really thinking about dreams and human desires and wants. I was in a conversation with a friend who is doing a PhD as well, and she was just saying, I feel like I almost want to fail. I've achieved everything I want to achieve, even though I'm living the dream that I've been working towards for the last 10 years. It's not how I want. I've experienced what I've wanted to experience. I'm quite happy to give up and work in a flower shop. And I was thinking, wow, I had the exact same thing after my first year at Cambridge undergraduate. I did very well at my exams, I worked very hard, I'd always been very hardworking, but I felt like I would be very happy in a cafe, and that I would be very happy to live the rest of my life in a cafe and just work there. Like, I love people and hospitality and the simple kind of nature of making coffees, having a nice routine and talking to people. But then that was at the end of my first year, and after the rest of the 2 years in which I almost lost that North Star which I had so clearly pinpointed for the first year was, get to Cambridge, work very hard. It suddenly just, and I was just left in this kind of, under this valley of stars in which every single star had its own allure to it, and I felt like if I didn't chase towards it quick enough, it would burn out and poof, and I'd be left in darkness. And so I went chasing random stars for a bit, and I look back and think, well, I missed the one big sun that I had to walk towards, because I do believe that we are all set on this perfect path, and so long as we incline to that will, his will, we will do works and do our work on here that will be of the most benefit, whether you believe in karma or justice or good and evil, that will allow you to do the best that you can in this life. And so what I said to my friend when I was listening to her, and I was thinking, wow, like I wish I could have intervened with myself after first year and said this. I thought, well, sometimes you forget how much hard work you had to put on to climb to the heights that you are, because you are already where you are. You have to think back, like, what would me 3 years ago think would want for me right now, right? You always have that single will, and sometimes that conviction can be so easily lost when you feel like, oh, you've got here. And so that's the paradox of a dream, is that once you've worked to it, if you've arrived at it, you don't feel like you don't want to have hard work anymore. There's no new dream to renew. You have to constantly like renew a dream in order to replenish yourself and have something to drive towards. And so you can only honor yourself how you felt like 3 years ago. And there was this beautiful way that my friend put it. He was talking about the students he was teaching and this 12-year-old that was just crying. And he said that, like, you look at this person and they are just a 12-year-old, they're a person. Like, we're all people, but he's a fully formed person, but just at that stage of their life, experiencing life as me, a 20-year-old, or a 25-year-old, or a 60-year-old could experience it. And so in that sense, you can see a person at every stage of their life, right? You can see a person when they're 12, but you could also see them in that same 12-year-old, their 3-year-old self, their 60-year-old self, their 21-year-old self, and vice versa for every single person, because we still live within ourselves, which is why the whole concept of being and remaining kind of committed to whatever dreams that you had, whether you've achieved it or not, is so important. So I think one thing is to think about is, would maybe me 3 years ago be happy with where I am now? And would me in 3 years' time look back and think I did what I should be doing, or I'm making the decisions that fulfill me in 3 years' time, or the me of 3 years ago, and that I honor myself as well as honor the people who created me. And this is why I whipped out my phone today as well, to just speak at a camera, kind of after my mom's encouragement for a different reason. But yeah, when I was 14, I used to always just talk at a phone into a private story because I was addicted to Snapchat. And whereas I think that form of love, I don't know what it was just a very spontaneous thing. Like, I used to chat a lot. So I guess this is a dream that from 8 years ago I'm just carrying on doing. Who knows what this will turn into in 8 years' time, but I can always look back and see. This is maybe my green light. Yeah, so I think instead of the slightly perishable green light that Gatsby have, I was reading Matthew McConaughey's Green Light, of course, last year, and I turned to it again because he talks about this green light as we're turning red lights in our lives, which we see as obstacles, into green lights. He has this lovely phrase, which is, reach beyond your grasp, have immortal finish lines, and turn your red light green, because a roof is a man-made thing. So it comes back to, I suppose, what I was trying to say with replenishing dreams. Every time we pass a green light, the road continues. You're going to meet more traffic lights, you're going to meet more green lights. You just have to turn them green and keep seeing the road as one that never finishes.